Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Adrienne, and today we're doing the first book haul of the year. Part of these books I got last year, some are from January, but they're all the books that I've purchased since my last book haul from my birthday. Now, per usual, did I need any of these books? No, I did not, but I bought them anyways. I've really been trying in January not to buy stuff, but then I started using Pango. First off, this is not sponsored at all, but I am just obsessed with Pango right now. It's where people buy and sell their own books, but it's set up in a way to look like social media. There's like a feed that gets updated as people post or as people drop their prices, and then you can go to people's bookstores, which looks like an Instagram page. So it's really cool. I love the setup. I love them buying books from people instead of a big corporation, and Pango gets their little cut, but we're making money off of our old books that we no longer want, so I love it. I will link my Pango bookstore page down below if you're interested, and any book that I've had in an unhaul, I will be listing on there eventually. There's only like 30 books on my bookstore right now, but I have over 100 more that I need to post. But anyways, I bring up Pango first because I'm going to tell you the books that I have purchased that have not made their way to me yet, because they're the two books I'm probably most excited about. Which, am I most excited about them because I don't have them yet, or am I genuinely that excited? I don't know. But do you ever feel like the most excited I am about a book is like when I'm clicking purchase, and then once I own it and it's available and I could read it right this second, I'm half as excited. Like, so much joy comes from the purchase. Anyways, I've only bought 3 books from Pango so far, and this first one is the best find. So I purchased Walhalla by Nikki May. This book came out 10 days before I purchased it. I have no idea why the seller is getting rid of it, but they said it's never been read. It's a brand new copy. Amazon's copy is like $24. I got it on Pango for $10 plus shipping. I was literally searching Pango for that book 2 or 3 times a day, just hoping someone would list it, and I found it. Walhalla is Yoruba, which is the language spoken in Nigeria. It's Yoruba for trouble, and the book is pitched as Sex in the City with British Nigerian women as the main characters. Already sold. But this book follows 3 women who are best friends. They bond over the fact that they are British Nigerian or Anglo-Nigerian. I'm not sure if they're all British, but this super tight group of best friends, and then a 4th comes along and like shakes up the whole group. It seems like a contemporary about female friendship within a maybe thrillery or at least suspense a little bit thrown in, but mainly just a focus on female friendships, on being of mixed race, of being Nigerian, and just the bonds they have, and like the ambitions or goals that each girl wants, and how this female friend group interacts, and what happens when Walhalla or trouble comes along in the form of a 4th friend. And then the next book I have coming from Pango is Half a King by Joe Abercrombie. This book I have heard about for years and years. I've probably been aware of it since it came out, but I was watching Erin from Booked and Busy, who I love, and as someone who fact checks everybody, which I know people don't like it, but that's who I am, okay? I'm gonna Google something if I don't think you're correct. So Erin said that Half a King by Joe Abercrombie was young adult, so I got on Goodreads like, that's not young adult, let me check. Why? Literally, who cares? Especially because I wasn't even interested in reading it. I was just like, let me see if it's really young adult, because I thought it was an adult book. But Emily May, who is the queen of Goodreads, if you somehow don't follow her on Goodreads but you use Goodreads, you have to check her out. She writes brilliant reviews. She has so much to say about every book that she reads, but in such a respectful, intelligent way. I love her so much. I wish she had a YouTube channel because it would be amazing. But her review of Half a King sold me in 2 paragraphs in a way that hearing about it on YouTube, Instagram, Goodreads, everywhere else, never was interested in this book in 10 years. Half a King is the kind of book that creeps up on you gradually, painting a picture of kingdoms and slavery and backstabbing until you think this is basically another fantasy set in the comfort zone of the genre, and then it hits you hard when you least expect it. I kid you not, there were 3 huge twists in this book, and I remained completely oblivious to all of them until they were upon me. It is the first twist, a few chapters in, that sucks you into the story, and I found myself unable to stop reading from then on. So it's a book that comes off as a traditional fantasy, but then gets super twisty. And as a thriller lover, not saying it's thrillery at all, but I just love twists and surprises and turns in the plot of a story. So now I'm dying to read Half a King, which I can't even believe it. The book is called Half a King because the main character, I think, is supposed to ascend to the throne because some family members died and he's next in line to be king. But in this world, I think any physical deformity deems you less worthy or as a lesser person in society. So I think he still becomes king, but he's really looked down upon because he has a deformed hand. I think he was born with a deformity, but I have really no idea about this book other than what I just told you, but I'm dying to read it. Like, I'm really excited to read a fast-paced, twisty fantasy. And then one last thing about Pango, and then I'll shut up. The last book I got from there, the first book I bought from there, is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. I, as you may know, recently read Spinning Silver by this author and loved it. This one is set in a school. It follows a main character who is going through some sort of magic school where you fight monsters or something. And I've actually looked into this book before and decided that I wasn't interested in it. I think I've even read spoilers on it because once I decide I'm not interested in a book, I'll just spoil myself so I can know what happened. But some people say this book is very boring. Like, there's not, even though this is a magic school, there's not actually lessons or teaching. Basically, it's just a bunch of young adults thrown in there and told they have to survive, and whoever survives this school full of monsters graduates or something. And that doesn't sound like fun to me. But now that I've read 2 Naomi Novik books, I feel like I trust her and that there must be something else. Like, there must be something that some readers were just missing. And I do know there are fans of this book, and yeah, it's a book about monsters. And I know it's like big scary monsters or like bugs that invade your hair, like all sorts of horrific creatures in a fantasy world. Next up, all the books I'm talking about, I was heavily influenced to read by somebody else. And next one is The Body Keeps the Score, Brain, Mind, and Body in the Healing of Trauma by Bessel van der Kolk. This one I was heavily inspired to purchase by my sister, who hasn't even read it, but she had started the audiobook and said it was just already made her cry. It just felt like it's gonna be a powerful, wonderful read. This is the nonfiction book discussing how trauma affects your mind, body, and soul, basically, and how trauma can have physical effects on your person. It discusses the healing process and just like therapies and things for trauma. I was very interested in this book because of the science aspect of it and the psychology of it, but to warn you in a way that I didn't really think through before I purchased it, this book is about how trauma affects people. So there's a lot of discussion about trauma and about horrible things that happen to people, horrible things that people do to other people. So lots of warnings for descriptions of trauma that will probably be very uncomfortable, and I am kind of dreading that part, but I'm hoping this focuses more on the psychology, science, body discussion. And I know this book did so well last year when it came out. Like, it's won a lot of awards, maybe some best nonfiction awards and things, so I am excited to get to this one, although a little frightened. Next up is Hogfather by Terry Pratchett. This one was influenced by Billy, who I talked to through YouTube. He recommended this as a Christmas recommendation, and it was a perfect recommendation for Christmas, although I finished it like weeks after Christmas. But I had bought it on Christmas Eve, and there was no chance that I was gonna finish it in time. But this book is book number 20 in the Discworld, which I haven't read any Discworld, so be forewarned that although some people have said this can be an entry point for Discworld, definitely missing a lot of context, references, backstory. But it was still very enjoyable. There were plenty of things to enjoy without knowing any knowledge about the Discworld before this, and it was a great time. Hogfather is Santa. This whole book takes place on Hog's Watch night, which is Christmas, and the Assassin's Guild is hired to kill Santa. But then Death, who, you know, is like the guy who comes with the skeleton with the scythe and the robe, who comes to you when you're dead to collect you or your soul. He finds out that Santa is gone, and he dresses up like Santa and delivers all the presents on Hogwarts night. It's the cutest, sweetest thing. Like, Death he's like kind of a funny character, but he's like a little out of touch with being human. Well, he's not human, so it's very much like him being interested in humans, not quite understanding them, but still wanting to help them. And like the fact that he's Death but acts like Santa to make children happy, so sweet. And we also follow his granddaughter Susan, who is like helping, trying to figure out what's going on because some other weird stuff is happening. And there's also multiple other groups of characters that I don't know too much about. There's like the wizards at the university. Their part of the story was the one I was least connected to because I mean, they were like being silly and weird, but I had no idea what they were talking about half the time. And like this machine thing, I don't know. But I definitely need to like go back in the Discworld and try something else. But this was a great time. This is also split between two vlogs, like my last December vlog and my Winterween vlog that hasn't come out yet, but I'm working on it. But I love that this was recommended. I love that I actually read a Christmassy book around Christmas because this is the only one I managed to read. So thank you for the recommendation. Next up, I Hope This Finds You Well, Poems by Kate Bear. I follow Kate Bear on Instagram and love her poetry on there. This is erasure poetry, but the source material is usually email, DMs, comments written to Kate Bear, or excerpts from like pop culture, like maybe a big quotation from Trump or Hillary Clinton or somebody, and she takes that, she puts that in there, and then she does the erasure version, which is like a response or commentary on the source material. And I think it's pretty good. I don't think I needed to buy this. My favorite ones in here I'd already seen on her Instagram, and there really are only a couple that I thought were fantastic. There is one that like gave me chills, but I'd already seen it on Instagram. Next up, a couple Christmas gifts. Confessions by Kanae Minato. I really don't know much about it, just that I've seen that it's a crazy wild ride thriller. It follows a woman who is a teacher at a middle school, and she is resigning, but before she resigns she gives a lecture that reveals stuff about some of her colleagues at the school and sets in motion a plot of revenge. I wanted it because it's supposed to be a crazy thriller, and that's kind of what I love. This is translated from Japanese. This has sold over 3 million copies in Japan, and now it's translated to English so I can read it. And then my other Christmas gift, The Doctor Who Fooled the World, Andrew Wakefield's War on Vaccines, written by Brian Deere. Andrew Wakefield is the guy who lied and said vaccines cause autism and plenty of other very harmful things that hurt how people view vaccines, how people view science, and really tainted especially America's view on vaccines. And this just discusses all the things Andrew Wakefield has done, the harm it has caused, the effects it's had on the world, and how we know he's wrong and why maybe his motivations on doing it. So this one's probably going to be upsetting but interesting to read. But I've heard that this is written kind of like a true crime podcast formula, how you know, how it keeps you engaged in a nonfiction. And then super random purchase, I started reading Albert Einstein's biography. Read less than 100 pages and I put it down, but then I was just into Albert Einstein. So I picked up this book because it was only $5. The World as I See It. This is a collection of some of his essays, and writings from his earlier years, and then if I enjoy this, I'll pick up, there's multiple other publishings of his essays from different time periods of his life. It's a collection of articles, addresses, and pronouncements of Albert Einstein. The world as he sees it. I mean, that's intriguing. Next up are my book of the month picks from November, I think. This one is In Every Mirror She's Black by Lola Akinme Okostrom. This is a contemporary novel following 3 black women in Sweden. I think one's from the US, one is a refugee, I'm not sure from where. Maybe one's from Sweden, I can't remember. But the 3 are linked by this one man. I don't know, I'm sure it has a very black theme to it. I don't remember what it's about, but I was really excited whenever I found it on there. Let's see. Told through the perspectives of each of the 3 women, it's a fast-paced, richly nuanced contemporary social novel that explores the deepest depths of what it means to be a black woman navigating a white-dominated society. So, intriguing. And next, The Sweetest Remedy by Jane Agaro. This one is a romance, or maybe just contemporary fiction, following a woman who travels to Nigeria to attend her father's funeral. She never met her father before, and she stays in Nigeria to connect with her family that she's never met before, and I think she finds love, and I think it's gonna be cute exploration of South romance. And then next, back to a recommendation. My sister loves the Jurassic Park book. She told me I need to pick this up. This is Jurassic Park and the Lost World by Michael Crichton in this beautiful Barnes & Noble edition I bought from their half-off hardcover sale. I don't think I need to tell you what this is, but I'm currently reading The Rise and Fall of the Dinosaurs, which is a nonfiction book about dinosaurs by Steve Brusatte. So after I finish learning about dinosaurs and the history of the Jurassic period and Cretaceous period and all these dinosaurs I'd never heard of and all the discoveries and things, like, I'm gonna want to read Jurassic Park and watch these dinosaurs in action. So super excited about that and happy to have this beautiful edition. And that is all. I hope you enjoyed. I have so many books that I'm excited to read. If you've read any of these, let me know if you think it's fantastic. And again, I think I'm most excited for Walhalla, but excited for so many of these, so hopefully you'll be seeing a lot of them upcoming in vlogs or wrap-ups. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.